Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Supposed to have another lovely day today. Gonna hit the old gardening stuff pretty hard. So hopefully we can get it wrapped up and ready for the big full planting that is to come in a few weeks. The big stuff, you know how that is, you gardeners. You kind of start off planting a little here and there, stuff that can be planted early, and then it hits that time after the first frost that you just go all at it. That's what we're getting ready for. I want to continually encourage you to be doing the same. Plant and produce as much food as you possibly can. More chaos happening, folks. Order out of chaos. That is their motto. Order out of chaos. Oh, it's just, it's happening so often now, especially like infrastructure stuff and violence, that it's doing exactly what they want it to do. It's becoming normal. It used to be that if there was a mass shooting somewhere, it was the front page of the news. Now it happens so often, pretty much every day, that most people don't even know that they're going on anymore. Yesterday was a different one. I'll admit, I was actually a little surprised and didn't even believe it. I had to kind of do a little digging to make sure that this was correct. But apparently 18,000 cattle blew up yesterday. I know, that sounds just a little ridiculous, but a dairy farm exploded. And I mean exploded. The word on the street is, the official story, that I guess it was some methane gas and some fertilizer and all that kind of stuff. But a very large dairy farm exploded. Didn't even know that was even possible. And 18,000 cattle were killed in that explosion. That's a significant amount, all at once. Now, you could tell me how many hundreds of thousands and millions of cattle there are in the United States and say, well, that's only kind of a small percentage, but 18,000 cattle dying in one day is a big deal. And it was dairy. So, there's less dairy than there is beef. Beef is the big one. So 18,000 dairy cattle, that's pretty significant. There's also some type of metal foundry or something caught fire. Huge, massive fires. Lots of shootings, folks. A bank, all kinds of fake shootings, meaning that they're not real, but they get called in. Some people calling it swatting, which is where they call in and a fake story and they send the SWAT team out and there's nothing there. They're happening all over. The one in Louisville at the bank, it was a bank guy and he just kind of lost it. Yes, and he used he, him pronouns. You know, just the fact that anyone uses a pronoun to begin with kind of says a lot for me. But it's happening, a lot of it, a lot of disruption to the status quo, to normal life, because, well, normal life doesn't exist anymore in America, folks. It's now all chaos. Saw another interesting one. Remember the big old train derailment up in East Palestine, Ohio? Dumped all those chemicals, and there was this little argument of removing the contaminated soil. Well, one of the big semis carrying like 40,000 pounds of contaminated soil was in a wreck and spilled the soil all over the ground. All that contaminated soil. It's always interesting how many strange coincidences happen and how they're happening more often. Now, I will admit that there's a possibility that some of these are just coincidental things that happen. But my goodness, it's happening pretty often. And it's getting to the point that it's difficult to even entertain the thought that these are all just unfortunate accidents. Believe that there's definitely an effort to cause disruption to our way of life. And you could say, well, it may be all these Chinese that cross the border. You know, they've said hundreds of thousands of them over the last year or two. Maybe they're doing it. Maybe it's, you know, our own government, some type of very highly top secret unit that's going around and doing these. Maybe it's Antifa. Maybe they're, you know, someone is encouraging and paying Antifa and sympathizers of that to do this kind of stuff. Who knows? Maybe it's all the above. Maybe it's someone else that we're not even aware of. Or maybe it's all just a coincidence. The bigger point is, folks, we can sit here and debate and argue over who it is and whether it's being done on purpose or not. But the fact is that it's spreading chaos all over the place. It is disrupting this normal way of life that, well, Americans have come to get used to. This is, you know, there's just a certain ebbs and flows and rhythm to our society that is being completely disrupted. And that, I believe, is done on purpose, along with all the many other things, you know, disrupting family life and throwing all this confusion into our children's minds, and just all chaotic. This, I believe, is all being done for a reason, and the reason is to get us so on edge constantly with all the confusion, and to get us to where we're just conditioned to that's normal. And as the chaos continues and as it increases, we normalize it more and more, to the point that we don't even really recognize that there's this many school shootings and this many mass shootings and this many train derailments and this many buildings blowing up and cows exploding and tens of millions of chickens being killed and all this kind of stuff, because it's just the times that we live in, and it's normal, folks. Well, it's not normal. It's not normal to be seeing all of this stuff happen at the pace and the increase. That's the thing. It's increasing. And we have to realize that this is all signs of the times, folks. Signs of the times that we live in. And if you haven't figured that out yet, I don't know what to tell you. But it's every time I see something like that, every time I hear it in the news or read it, it just confirms, number one, that the lifestyle that we are living is definitely the better one. And it also encourages me to kick myself in the hindquarters and push myself a little bit harder that day, and maybe the next, to do some more stuff. Get the things done that need to get done. Quit just sitting around and dreaming and coming up with all these ideas of how to be prepared, and then actually getting out and doing it. Because that's what it takes. This world that we are embarking on is not going to be favorable to dreamers. Nothing wrong with being a dreamer, but right now is not the time to be one. You're gonna need to be a doer and a fighter and a survivor. That's what you need to be. So get out there and do those things. Fight, survive, make things happen. Get yourselves prepared. Get your family, get your property, get your community, your tribe. Get them moving. And it needs to be happening pretty much constantly. If you knew, I gave you a date that you knew was absolutely correct, that at this certain date, let's just say 3 months into the future, that there would be a nuclear war on our soil, or an EMP, or a pandemic 100 times worse than the last, what would you do between now and then? How much would you get prepared? How much would you sacrifice? How hard would you work? You need to think along those lines, because things are happening, and they're happening very rapidly. And now is not the time for armchair quarterbacking and sitting here talking about, well, what we could be doing, what we should be doing. It's time for actual doing, folks. Getting ready and prepared, stocked up, prayed up, trained up, get it all done, because old Rome that fire's getting really big right now, folks. I mean, it's just almost fully engulfed, and it's only gonna get worse. It's time to get your houses in order, prepare, like your life depends on it, because it does, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next video.